get mine. Hi, I'm Keith and welcome back. This is our third video. The first two videos we shot about a week ago or so. I took you around and I showed you my garden. I showed you all the little niches and so forth. Today I want to take you back. That first video that we shot, we ended up unfortunately cutting that into two videos, and also you weren't able to get a chance to see really the better pictures of the garden. So we're starting out the video so you can see some better shots of the garden. So this is a really nice vista right here, really nice shot in the center part of the garden. The stone wall wrapping around here. This beautiful cherry plum that was on the property initially. You see all the flowers and so forth on the, there's a garden bench, sort of a stone wall garden bench in the upper area. You can kind of see it a little bit, but we're going to be doing this sort of enhance that area. We're going to be putting in a pergola. And so when you come into the garden, it's going to really highlight the garden and really give it a dynamic feel. So just keep that in mind for future videos. We're going to be starting that probably this coming week. Going to take a few weeks, so you may become, I may have you back before then. You can start to see your progress. But let's go take a look around. So this week we did a number of projects. One of the things that I'd done, even though we planted a lot of seeds probably about a month or so ago. I planted a lot of them. The cameraman can swing around. We planted on the upper side of the garden over there, as you'll see, with the idea that, you know, they'll cascade over the side. They're growing really fast. I've got several types of zucchini, watermelon, Crenshaw melon, a giant cantaloupe, cucumbers, a couple of different cucumbers. So it's really going to be fun as those grow and they start cascading over the walls. You'll see that in the next video. So I did the sort of same thing because I had a lot of extra seeds, and I thought about planting flowers, but some of the flowers already here, the alyssum and the fleabane, those actually will sort of naturalize. But I want to do something different, and so I planted more of the seeds because I had extra ones, and I just want to see if they're getting enough sun, if they'll do the same thing. I think they will. So again, you'll see that progress over the next few weeks. So we've seen this. We got plenty of zucchini here. Got a lot of orange going on here with a colorful shed. You want to take a swing around and take a look at that? Some really bright colors, and I've highlighted by planting a lot of the colors adjacent to it. It really picks up the color and plays off of it. I think it's really nice. There's a flagstone pathway we put in probably 15 years ago. It's settled a little bit, but we'll just have to go back and relay the stones, but they'll be fine. So let me take you over here, and the cameraman can see if he can, we'll kind of trade places here. Why don't we trade places here? One of the things we did since the last video is we cleaned up all the overgrowth in the sides of the creek, both above the wall here that was put in years ago. And you can see how nicely this wall curves around and then curves out of your view. And while it does that, it actually comes up from where the steps go down into the creek, and it curves up and then goes down. And it's really a wonderful curve, and not only does it looks wonderful by itself, but if you can see both the wall here and this walkway that I put in years ago, how they actually sort of feed off each other, and in some ways almost look like the same curve. And it's sort of this dynamic look, sort of a synergetic feel that you get from it. Hopefully that you can see that and you pick that up in the camera. I'll walk around my property and I'll look at these for, I mean, hours at a time, just different views and vantage points, and it's just a wonderful feeling that these curves give to the garden. It's a sense of movement, and it's hard for me to put it into words exactly, but there is a sense of movement anytime you use curves in your garden. It's not stagnant. There's movement. It's dynamic. So having cleaned out the sides of the creek here, you can see again the curve of the creek, the curve of the wall, and you'll see that start filling in later on. What we'll be doing is doing some more planting. I did plant a lot of wildflowers this year throughout the property. I did it sort of late in the year. All of them didn't take. There was a few in the upper part of the property did, but there's too many weeds down here. But in the future, that's what I plan on doing, is really enhancing. I put the bones in the garden. Now it just needs to be sort of further articulated. So having said that, let's go take a walk over the bridge. You can take another look at the wall. Again, you can see how it curves around, brings your eye, and we cut a lot of things back. Again, our first video that we have, this is really overgrown, and so we cut a lot of things back, both from the top as well as the side. And now you can see, for the first time in years, you can really see this wall curving, and it's sort of monumental in some ways. And then if we can take a look around, we cut back this huge overgrowth on the other side of the creek here. Some of the things were planted. There's dogwood down there, native dogwood. There's Philadelphus. There's a couple of different ones. It's mock orange. They don't really bloom too well here. But they filled in, and it sort of was just too much. It was an overgrowth. And so I wanted, the reason we did that, I wanted to see the creek more. And it's nice. It needs to get refined a little bit, and there's a lot of soil that has moved down. But you'll see over the course of the next few weeks, we'll probably give you, hopefully, I'll be making a video and you can actually see how the garden progresses over time, which I think will be fun. And so we clean this out. We planted some lamiastrum at the top, so you're blending sort of the wild look of down below with this more refined look. Although it's not super refined, because it is sort of a meadow here with some hydrangeas. These are Annabelle hydrangeas. If you can spin around and take a look at that. There's a hammock, unfortunately, we took down. There's a tree, unfortunately, it's going to be toppling probably in the next few days. But you can see this area here that I did years ago. There's this is sort of a flat area here, which is defined by this border. And it sort of curves nicely around. And the walkway does the same thing. It curves around, and it sort of disappears over the corner of the house, and in some ways it sort of draws you over there. You would be drawn over more if we had the hammock, but unfortunately we didn't do that because we don't want it to be torn down when the tree goes down. But it's a really nice pathway. I really like the lines away there. They go off, and then we have other stepping stones that go off to a bench over here. And this is Campania Proscarsiana, which has this lovely blue flower. And then we're kind of redoing this area, because the Campania, as nice as it is, and it does have some drought tolerance to it, once it finishes blooming, it looks a little ragtag and needs to get cleaned up. So I'm hoping to do something a little more low maintenance. And I just started by putting some dwarf mondo grass in sort of this curving shape again, that sort of goes throughout the garden. And I'll be introducing other ground covers. We'll just see what works the best. But I want to go with something a little more low maintenance. So let's go and take a look at the upper part of the garden. Again, these are the steps that go down to the creek. As you come from this direction, take a look at how this walkway then carries you out into the center part of the garden here. So we'll walk up my deck here. My dog Stella hanging out. Hey Stella. What are you doing? Flanked on either side of my deck as you're walking up these steps. I've got fuchsia, It's starting to flower right now. And the reason I chose this, I really like this fuchsia, it blooms a lot, is it attracts hummingbirds. So whether I'm inside my house or I'm hanging out on the deck, there's hummingbirds coming around a lot, and it makes it fun to be out here. I'm sure you're picking up on this as we're walking around, and I sort of take it for granted, but there are so many birds on this property, and a lot of the stuff that I planted, not only the fuchsias attract the hummingbirds, but no matter what, the birds seem to be attracted to this garden, both in their they're able to kind of get around where some of the irrigated places are and dig into the soil and pick up their grubs or whatever they're after. So it provides, just by chance, birds and other wildlife. Let's take a look at this. You see some corn that first time I've grown corn, really coming up here. It's got kind of a fun plant, it grows really fast. And then behind there is these arches that I made. For some reason, got something in my throat here. On these arches I'm growing painted lady beans, which are really starting to produce a lot of beans, which is great. I really like being able to grow as much fruit and vegetables on my property as I can, and so this garden has been a wonderful return on the time that I spent in here. So the last part of the video which I wanted to share with you was I made this very large stone bench here, and I think anytime you do something well at the beginning, not to pat myself on the back, but I believe when you do a good design, it sort of builds on itself. So even though I've noticed as I progress in the garden and I've done different projects, I'll have other ideas that come to me. And one of them was the arbor here. So you'll see in the next few weeks, that'll be our next project, is we're going to be putting an arbor here that sort of mimics the shape of the bench in the back, sort of in that curve sort of thing, which when done, it'll really both draw your eye to this area, because you don't really notice there's a stone bench here. You don't really see it as a center part of the garden, but it really is a center part of the garden. And so that arbor will focus your attention on that, and I think you'll see after it's done what I mean. It's difficult to put into words, but I think you'll see what I mean. So hopefully when you come back, we'll have some of that done. It'll be sort of a work in progress, and I think that's about it. Thanks for joining me today.